Hi, Flosstube. We're on about take 6. It's been one of those moments. Hi, I'm Jess. My pronouns she and her. Cross-stitch Jess here and on Flosstube, and I'm here to tell you about my stitching for the last 3 weeks. I feel a bit, having said the same thing that many times over, I'm now losing my sanity of whether it's a normal thing to say. You know, when you say a word too many times and then it stops making sense. I feel like that, but with saying hello to you guys. It's going to be a chaotic one. I haven't taken notes or prepped any notes. I've literally just got a pile of stuff to talk about, which is probably why we're on take 6. I feel like I've got quite a lot to do I don't know. There's at least there's 2 start and finishes, so that, and a bunch of whips. I've got giveaway winners. I've got some acquisitions, some of which I've realised I've already put away and I'm now regretting having put away. Anyway, we're going to roll with it. I'm not going to stop and start again to get anything else out. So what has been happening? It's been about 3 weeks since my last update, and to be fair, 2 of those weekends have been fairly quiet. Like, we've had a board game day. John has had, is it a birthday or a stag do? I can't remember. He was in Nottingham for a weekend. The first 2 weekends have been fairly chill and quiet in the grand scheme of things. And then last weekend I went down to South Wales to surprise the turtle of Turtle Bay Textiles, which was really lovely. It was lush to see her, and I got to see Soph as well, and a whole bunch of other people, like Marie from Stitches and Diamonds was there, Susanna, Becca, who works in the shop with Soph, like a whole bunch of people, and some of the Sunday Stitch Club who I have met kind of once or twice when I've been down, but it's always nice to catch up with them as well. So that was lush, and I came back with a whole stack of acquisitions, which are all fabric, so I'm only going to very briefly show you, but because they are so gorgeous. Oh, I put them too far. Ow. Yeah, okay. So some of these I had pre-ordered and was just collecting. Some of them, like, essentially you walk the length of the shop anytime you want to go to the loo or go to the kitchen to like fill up a water bottle. Every time I walked down the shop and back again, another bolt of fabric came with me to have a chunk cut off of. Can you scooch in? That's really bony. No, Alfie. Oh man, how are you so soft and so bony at the same time? But yeah, so the fabric at the bottom here, the blue and green sort of tartan, is brushed cotton, and I got a lot of that because I am determined to try and make myself some pyjama bottoms. I had my favourite ever pyjama bottoms that I lost. I think I must have left them in a hotel somewhere when I was working away from home a lot, and that was probably 8 or 9 years ago, and I still mourn the loss of those pyjama bottoms. So this is the same kind of fabric, this lovely soft brushed cotton. I've never made clothes before, so that's going to be fun, possibly disastrous, but we're going to give it a go. And then everything else is just cottons because I liked them for project bag making. Simples. A lot of these probably won't get used for a while. I do have a stack of half-made bags on the go. Okay, the cushion's going. You're just going to push it off my lap, aren't you? So what's the point? I do have a bunch of project bags on the go because I am vending again at Itching for Stitching in about a month's time. My sewing machine has just come back from being serviced, so I've been a bit delayed on getting started with those. So these fabrics will go into my stash for now, and when I've done this sort of smaller batch for Itching for Stitching, I will have another go through and pick out what I'm going to do for my next sort of online release. So that's the majority of what I've been up to. Outside of that, stitching wise, I might have already said this, I don't know what I'm doing anymore, I don't know what I've already said, but I've got 2 start and finishes, I've got 2 FFOs. Alfie, this is so unhelpful, mate. 2 FFOs in hoops. If you've watched my plans video, which I think was now 2 videos ago, I had 2 projects to put in hoops and one that I'm taking to the framer, and one that I'm getting back from the framer, so that I can have my new starts in December. So I've done the 2 hoops, and that means I'm almost ready. I've done a bunch of other like bits and bobs for prep for December, like picking some fabrics for the couple that I'm doing on cotton with waste canvas. I've set those up. I've just realised I've got another, I think that one's just a finish rather than a start and finish. We've got all the things. I feel like I've started and finished a lot in 3 weeks, which is why I like doing this, because it makes me reflect. If you just asked me and I hadn't got it all out this morning ready, I'd have been like, oh yeah, I had 1 start and I worked on another project, but actually I've got 2 start and finishes, another finish, 2 FFOs, another start. Like, it's been a busy month, man. So I'm gonna kick Alfie off my lap and start with the big one. Can you get off, please? Excuse me. Thank you. Good boy. So, the big one, the big start, the one we've all been waiting for, is Freya. So, this is The Legend of Freya by Bella Filipina. As you can see at the side here, I'm stitching this on organza with waste canvas. So eventually all of this sort of white background will disappear and it'll just be the stitching on see-through fabric. I have started doing what I have dubbed the organza. Sorry, this is really hard to hold with the clamp on. I should have taken that off. I'm going to do a mini series called the Organza Diaries, almost entirely motivated by the fact that I recently watched the Apothecary Diary anime series and really enjoyed that. Really recommend if you want some random background TV. But yeah, the Organza Diaries. So we've got episode 1 is already up, and that is basically set up. So how I got my waste canvas and my organza onto the scroll bar, and prep that I did to figure out where I was going to start over here. I have filmed my first stitches, so that's going to be update number 2. And then I'm going to do, as part of that, I've been asked why I'm doing this, which admittedly for a new viewer isn't super obvious. It does seem a bit nuts even to me. So episode 2 is going to be why, how, and then my first stitches. So I'll talk you through like the really detailed, because if you look up close, it's I have the camera the wrong way around to focus really well on this, but how to stitch on waste canvas isn't necessarily obvious, so I'm going to do a super close up of exactly like where I'm putting my needle and what I'm paying attention to when I'm stitching. But so far we have this sort of tail end of the spear, and a lot of her hair coming in. I think this is about 3.5%. And I'm working across this way to do the whole strip. I think this is about 70 stitches down on the pattern. So doing that whole strip, and then what I'll do is take the waste canvas out from that layer. And then when I move down, when I move down, I'm going to do another Organza Diaries update, because I think my plan is to try and essentially snip across the waste canvas and pull it out from the top, but I need to make sure that the waste canvas is secured below that point, so I'm going to need to like find the right point to sort of do some stitching below and then cut across. I've decided not to do this in a straight line because I don't want it to be almost like a page break on a full coverage, so that is going to be a figure out as I go kind of thing. But yeah, for now, really excited to have started this. We're stitching this as a bit of a sal, so myself, Kat from Cat Kin Lily, and Rachel from Talking Dog Stitcher sort of initially started it, but we've got a whole bunch of other people joining. So Michelle, Danny, Lauren, apologies if I've missed anyone. I'll pop all of the names on the screen. But yeah, if you're stitching this as well and you want to join us for Freya Fridays, not that you only have to stitch on Friday, I've stitched this. Alfie's trying to make himself a nest in his bed. Alfie, settle down. Good boy. Okay. If you want to join us for Freya Fridays, feel free to give me a shout. We've got an Instagram group chat going. And Gushan, Gooey Glam Stitches is also stitching this as well. So yeah, give me a shout. We can get you added, and I think it's just nice seeing other people stitching the same thing. It's really motivational, I think. And so far, I think several people are still waiting for their fabric, but I've started at the top. Goo has done a centre start, and Kat from Catkin and Lily has started at the very bottom. So you can kind of almost see the whole thing being stitched in different parts across those three. Right, so let's put that down for now. The one downside is it's massive. It's ginormous. The middle. Alfie does not approve of me having the frame here, because as you can see, he tucks in next to me. It takes up his headspace, so he has to tuck around it, which I don't think he appreciates. Next up, we have my start and finish. I did, again, if you've watched my plans video, I did say that this was going to be a December start, but I have pivoted and done it early because I would like to gift this to my hairstylist, and my appointment has moved to, I've had to move it to the end of November. This is I Will Find You by Lucy Beam. I have already stitched this once before, and it's on my Meta Cross Stitch wall just up here. So I have made some tweaks to this. So normally this says use my fabric scissors. I've taken out the word fabric, and I've added this little flick that you get on hairdressing scissors. So this is going to be a gift for Gavin, my hairstylist. So I just need to get a frame and get this done before my appointment at the end of the month. It's about, I think it's 1,500, 1,600 stitches, somewhere around there. So yeah, I did this over the course of sort of 3 or 4 days. This bottom chunk of the scissors, you wouldn't think it, but that's like 600 stitches. So yeah. And I have to say thank you. The purple that I've used on the scissors for the scissor handle, it shows up better in real life. I think you get more of the shadow of the stitches, makes the lighter colour pop rather than ghost quite as much as it does on camera. I guess also because I've got the ring light on, because it's a nasty day outside, that will be taking away some of that shadow, which helps it sort of stand out. But yeah, the lovely Dobby very kindly sent me some surprise threads as a gift. So this is a cottage garden threads thread that she very kindly gifted me, and it was perfect timing because it arrived and I was that same day planning to look through my stash for a nice variegated purple. So thank you so much, Dobby. I loved the little surprise. It was great. So that's number 1 on my start and finish list. Next up, this one has only had a teeny tiny bit of work, but it was intentional teeny tiny bit of work. So this is my owl double hoop winter owl. I don't know, it's from a magazine. I never know which bit of information on the page is meant to be the pattern title or the article title. It's a winter owl that goes in a double hoop, and all I've done on this is this little bit of backstitch. So this piece of fabric, I probably positioned this kind of poorly, so I've cut off the bottom. This was on a huge piece of Stitch Bunny 18 count, but what I want to do is be able to take this, I'm going to Harrogate next weekend, and I want to be able to take this and make sure I find the right sized hoops while I'm there. So I wanted to make sure that I'd done some of the back stitching around here, just so that I had a proper sense of how big the finished piece will be on the fabric. Also, once I found that hoop, it will allow me to see how much extra fabric I need to see whether I can cut this off and make use of it. I think I quite like the idea of this background for one of my December starts for the Ted Lasso Karen Hallian piece. It will just about fit on here, but with very, very small borders. So I want to be 100% sure that I'm not screwing myself over when it comes to framing the owl. I would rather just use a different piece of fabric or use the other half, the bottom half of this, for the Ted Lasso piece if necessary. So yeah, a really small, I think it's something like 30 stitches that it counts as, but with intent to make sure that I can get this in a hoop, and also that I can find a hoop the right size to go in this middle bit, because I do have some quite small ones, but I have tested and it is still too big. So that's on my planned shopping list for Harrogate. I'm sure there will be many things that come out of Harrogate that were not planned, but that is an intentional, I'm going prepared to buy the thing. Next up is a tiny bit of stash acquisition. Use the crinkling, but I'm going to show you because I'm really happy with them. So the lovely Rachel from Talking Dog Stitchery saw my plans video and very kindly told me that she already had the fabric that I was looking for, and I realised, I think I said that I'd already ordered it. I realised I actually had not. I'd put it in my basket and thought, right, I'm going to go and have a look and see if there's anything else I want, and then I got sidetracked and I never clicked go. So it actually worked out really well. Rachel had some of the called for fabric, which is 36 count Mystic from Picture This Plus. Got up the label there, and she has very kindly, we've done a bit of an exchange, she has gifted me the fabric. I had also ordered the threads from her, so these all arrived, which I'm very excited about. The various fancy flosses, they are all, they're all gentle arts. Yeah, so that was nice to receive, and I am excited to have those ready to go. So that is, I haven't said, these are for Cosford Rise Stitchery Starry Night Biscornu, which I saw at Stitch in London as a model stitch that the designer had brought. And then the exchange part with me and Rachel is I have tracked down where to get the buttons from. So the designer, she did send me the link to where she got them from, but they were in the US and it was like $1 per button and then £17 worth of postage. So I have tracked down where to get these from. It's not going to focus very well because, again, camera's the wrong way around, but these gorgeous buttons. It turns out that the place that was easiest for me to get them from was the company that makes them, and therefore instead of buying 1 or 2, I have 25. So I am sending Rachel some of these buttons. I'm also going to send some to Soph because I think she was excited about the idea of this pattern too. So I'm going to send them some buttons in exchange for Rachel having sent me the fabric. And then I think because there are 25, and I'm pretty sure I've never made a Biscornu, so I assume you only need 2 at most for the centre. I might do a giveaway at some point, so if anyone else is interested, just because I couldn't find anywhere in the UK that sold them, so these have come from France. And it's one of those where like I paid more for the buttons, but then the shipping was only £3, whereas everywhere else it would have been £3 to £5 for the buttons, and then like one place tried to charge me £35 for shipping for two or 4 buttons. Just absolutely bonkers. So yeah, maybe a giveaway in the future. If anyone else would like to join and stitch this project, let me know if that's something that you are all interested in. But that means that I am now fully kitted up for that particular new start. And they are currently living in a Rachel Talking Dog Stitchery delivery bag because I have not gotten organised enough to have stuff in project bags just yet. Next is another bit of December prep. So this is going to be a restart. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is a restart of a GeckoRouge, partly because I wasn't enjoying the 18 count, so I'm swapping to 20 and swapping to fancy colours while I'm here. So this is 20 count Plum by Fibre on a Whim, that I got from 123 Stitch. I think with some Christmas money from last year. And then also, I didn't really love the colour palette that the chart came with. Like, it was a grayscale palette, but they'd used some like beige greys in the middle, and it just didn't look right to me. So I have come up with my own colour palette. And yeah, towards the top here, they are kind of... I'm now questioning everything again. No, we're sticking... I'm not changing my mind. Too late. Towards the top here, we do have some sort of browny kind of colours. And then while I was in Wales, we were struggling with getting the very last colour correct and to look right. And Soph, the towel, suggested that she had this Roxy floss, which she said is kind of green, and I'm now not seeing it, so I don't know if it's a lighting thing. But this is a sort of... it's a very dark grey, but not black, so it's darker than 3799, lighter than 310. It's called Chalkboard. She very kindly... she lent me some to do the test swatch, and then she very kindly gifted me the skein. Which... yeah. I mean, even on the original, the darkest colour is quite a jump, but it looks fine. So this is quite a jump from the previous shade, but I think it's going to look fine. So thank you, Soph, for gifting me my first ever Roxy floss. I am excited to get started on that one now. Yeah, I'm glad that I've gotten into this habit of colour swatching, because I think it saves so many problems. Especially on this, I would normally start with the darkest colour. So if I'd started with a different, like with the brown that I'd originally put in, and then didn't like it, I'm kind of stuffed at that point, because I would have colour completed all of it and then decided I don't like it again. So colour swatching for the win. Right, next up is even more December prep, but on an existing whip this time. So again, on my plans video, I think it was, I mentioned that I had made a mistake. So originally, hang on, I'm going to need something to wrap that around. Put it on here. Okay, so when I started this on my 12x12 last year, I started in this very top section, and I then came down with one of these beams and then did all of this off of that one beam. Well, this middle section off of that one beam. When I then came back up and started to like look at putting in the next beam, I realised I'd missed a stitch down here. So this like outermost beam is one stitch too short. And that was a problem. that is a problem that I needed to sit down and do it all in one go, so that I knew, like, I could remember how I'd fudged the previous beam to know how to fudge the next one and not have mistakes compounded on mistakes. So in the end, what I did was come all the way across this bottom piece and then go back and add these in. And I've done them correct from the bottom up, and then there's essentially a row of stitches in the top here for all of the others that I've taken out. So I think it looks completely fine. I don't think you'd know if I wasn't talking about it. But it just means that all of the fill that goes in this, because there's trees that come up and there's like lighter shaded beams that go in that are almost like the back half of the dome. So I wanted to make sure that those weren't going to have to be fudged as well. So taking that row out of the top is the easiest way to make sure that the actual sort of empty shapes that are currently there between the beams are as close to what they should be as possible. And then because I was just enjoying it, I carried on over and did all of this as well and came down this side. So when it comes to doing this on my 12x12, I will probably come and like put in a beam or two of that lighter colour in the background, just because it's relatively straightforward stitching. Or the other option is coming and doing the straight down on this side, because it is just 310, just in a straight line. There's no counting really. There's no way I'd do the whole beam in an hour, so just as far as I can get, really. So yeah, that's another one that I had on my, I think this was on the plans video. There was a lot of filming Jess, editing Jess to put things on a to-do list, and that to-do list ended up being pretty meaty. But I am getting there. So like, I Will Find You was on there, the swatches for gaming was on there, this was on there. So we've ticked off a number of things. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling organised. Next up we have a start and finish. I got something plain. Not really. I don't have anything plain white that I can put behind this easily. So whatever, you're just gonna see it as it is. This is a Mill Hill Bewitching Pumpkin, I believe it's called. So this is another start and finish. At the Floss Friends retreat, Lauren from Cross Stitch Bunny finished this kit and offered the leftovers to the table, and I've had my eye on this one for ages, and I already had some 18 count perforated paper, so I jumped at the opportunity. This was a very nice quick 2-day stitch. It's I think about 8 colours and 3 or 4 colours of beads, so yeah, really nice quick one. I love the little witch, and the little bit of back stitch on there I think really works, and somehow bafflingly there were like exactly the correct number of beads. So I think the tree, I literally had the exact number of beads. So the Mill Hill kits are very generous, and then all the others there's some beads in the stalk here, there's some beads along the roof line of the house, and there's some in the sort of the outline of the black down here. So all of the others, there were plenty left. So I've now passed that kit on again. So it's going to end up going around the whole group at this point because it's such a lovely little one. And mine is obviously smaller because it's on 18 count rather than the 14 that it normally comes with. I've opted not to cut this out and fully finish it yet, because obviously there's a lot of space on here, and having it in this magnetic frame, I'm not sure how that would work if I had like a chunk cut out of the corner, whether the rest of the paper would stay nice and tight. So I think what I'm going to do is just keep this in the frame for now, and when I see other things that I want to make as little ornaments, I will add them on here, and when I've got like 3 or 4 taking up the space, I'll then cut them out and fully finish them together. Obviously I've missed Halloween for this one, so I might as well keep it going for another year, and have it for next year instead. But yeah, thank you Lauren for the little kit. I really enjoyed having a little Halloween quick stitch. And in retrospect as well, last year I did the Halloween pillow from Flosstabilities around Halloween time, so I'm not much of a like seasonal like holiday stitcher, but I quite like the idea of having a little Halloween small each year. Yeah, this is this year's. All done. Next up, let's go for what's in this bag. So this is a model stitch that I'm currently doing. So this is Quaternion Creations, the lovely Maria. She is an absolutely amazing designer, and this particular design is Dragon Whisperer. This has already been released, so if you like the look of this, you can go and buy it and stitch it now. I think she just wanted some new pictures with some pretty variegated flosses added in. So I am planning to colour complete this, so I'm working on the 310 first. So this is just over 1 skein of DMC, and I am loving it. So all of that top border is done. The side bars of the border, so I've gone a little bit on the other side, but these side borders are quite long and quite repetitive. So what I think I'm doing now is I'm not doing very well at holding things. I do have a board, I never remember to bring it over, to use my boobs instead. So I'm working down this centre bit, essentially to mark out how far I need to go when I then go back and do those sidebars of the border. rather than trying to count a long straight line and risking getting that wrong. But I love how like lacy it looks. And these top borders is just, she's such a good designer. I love it. And then there's pops of colour. So the gap here will be a pop of colour. There's like a circle around here that's a pop of colour. And then the dragon's wing, I think, is also a pop of colour. So it's only 3 DMC threads. So you've got 310, and then the bright red is 666, I think, or yeah. I don't know, I've stupidly thrown away the thing and I've not labelled them because there's only 3. And then this variegated sort of grey, dark grey, light grey, and a sort of dark wine red. I love it. I'm really excited to put the pops of colour in, but I am definitely going to crack on with all of the 310 first, I think. So this is the closest I ever really have to a monochrome stitch, so I'm really enjoying being able to just pull it out and not have to like jump between colours. Obviously with the way, for example, that I'm stitching Freya, normally on a big project I would colour complete. I'd start with one colour that kind of goes everywhere and then use that as the framework to put everything in. But because of the way I'm stitching her, there is a lot more colour jumping. Like I've got all of these threads out at once when I'm used to having maybe 2. So it is nice to have Dragon Whisperer and have that compact, just pick up the DMC 310 and crack on with it. I am planning to carry on working on that, but I think with December it might slow down a little bit and then pick up again in January. But because it's not for a specific release date, it's not as much of a rush. Next we have a finish. I'm pretty sure I'd started this last time, so you will have seen this in progress. This is the Magic School Sal. The design is by Circle Cross, and it's black work rather than cross stitch. So I'm stitching this with Rachel from Stitchecology and Shawnee from Stitchosaurus, both on Instagram. And we are doing 1 tile every 2 months. So this is my October-November tile. This is the first time I've done it not in black thread. So this is the School of Void, or the Antimancer. And Rachel had the suggestion of doing it almost inverted, so black fabric with a white thread. I think she's done hers in like a very light variegated thread. So I'm excited to see how that comes out. But I am so glad that I pivoted and swapped my fabric and did it in the light thread. I've done this in white pearl cotton, whatever the thinnest pearl cotton is. And it's over 2 on 14 count, so this is the equivalent of 7 count. But yeah, I had lots of doubts, so many doubts as I was stitching it, but I think it's come out great. I really love it. I still find it fascinating that you can just use some really simple straight lines to create like a face or very recognisable features. For next month, I think Shawnee we're basically taking it in turns to pick. So Rachel picked the previous one, I picked this one, Shawnee has picked the next one, but the one that she's picked is actually one I'd done before we started doing it as a sal. So instead I'm gonna pick a different one to do myself, and I've picked, I can't remember the proper name for it, but it's basically like the artifacts, like the clicky clacky mechanical making things, artificer maybe. Anyway, I'm going to do that one. I've got my fabric for it, so that again I would have mentioned in my plans that I'm planning to do one of these tiles, but that was another thing on the to-do list, was to pick the fabric and pick which one I was going to do. So it's another new start that I am all set for. I'm really excited for next month, guys. So many new starts. I'm excited for all of them. So last up in terms of stuff that I have worked on, we have my two hoop finishes. So this one is Frog. It is by brain going blank, hoops and crosses UK. The artwork is by Katie Abbey. And yeah, he's just a derpy little frog who has no idea what the hap is fucking. Very relatable. I did ask John whether he thought it was worth me trudging up 2 flights of stairs to my hoop stash to find a hoop where like the rainbow would sort of wrap around. But we both actually quite liked having the little almost frame of the fabric. And this one is on Dreamin' of Summer from Stitch Bunny, which is a printed fabric. It's a lovely sort of soft pastel pinks, yellows and oranges. It's really nice. I've used it for a number of things now, but I love it. Yay, frog. So that's going to go on my hoop wall by my desk, because most of the time I know what the hap is fucking, but sometimes, particularly when there's like workplace politics going on, I have no idea what the hap is fucking. And then on a very different tonal note, this is Fairy Dust by Nimu, who I believe is a French company or designer. And again, it's just a really simple hoop. I do all of these as like a spiral hoop frame. I just find them really satisfying. They make my brain really happy. So yeah, I love her so much. So pretty. And again, I have to thank Lauren from Cross Stitch Bunny for this one, because she got the kit, I think, on a D-stash at a retreat like a year or two ago. And when I saw it on her Flosstube, I don't often have moments like this when I'm watching Flosstube. I'm very, very picky and selective about patterns that I buy and stitch on. But she showed this, and I was on my phone. Like I'd found it and bought it before the end of her update. I love it so much. It's just so soft looking, and that's really not normally my vibe, but I love it so much. Yeah, I just want to stare at it and enjoy it. This one is probably also going up by my desk hoop wall. I'm going to run out of space, but maybe I'll have to start rotating them in. Right, I'm fairly sure that is all of my stitching. Fairly certain. Doing quite well on time. Let's do giveaways. Let me find my screenshots. So we had 3 giveaways for 3 patterns. Let's try and not drop the scissors on the floor. And 3 pairs of scissors to go with them. So 1 pattern and 1 pair of scissors was 1 giveaway prize. So first up, spin this around so I can see what I'm doing. So for the Haunted Stitches needle book, and I'll be real, I can't remember which pair of scissors. I'm going to have to go back and double check. But for this pattern and the scissors, we have Kathy Fudge 5211. Try and show that. Try and not show you my laundry in the reflection. Kathy Fudge 5211. There we go. So you have won this pattern and the matching pair of scissors. Please drop me a message on Instagram and I will get that sent out to you. Next we have the Tiny Towns. So this is Seaside Tiny Town, and I think this came with the rainbow scissors. I think. But trust past me rather than present me, because I don't know what I'm doing. So this one is going to Good Stitches. So if that is you, again, please drop me a message on Instagram and I will get that sent out to you. And then lastly, I know what scissors came with this one. So this is Silver Creek Samplers Seize the Needle. And this one came with the silver scissors because Silver Creek. So I knew one of them. This one is going to Nikki Johnston JT Stitching. Okay, so for all three of you, please drop me a message on Instagram, let me know your address and where in the world you are, and I will get those sent out to you as soon as I can. Although admittedly next week is a bit busy, so maybe not next week, but still let me know your address and I'll send them when I can. What else, if anything else, do you want to have to talk to you about? As I said at the start, like, I feel like I've been doing a lot of sort of Flosstube extra stuff. So my plans video for December is up. My first Organza diaries is up, and I'm going to do the second one sort of between now and the end of the month. So that'll be, like I said, the why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, and then the first stitches. So that'll be up soon. And then I'll do another update right at the end of November even, just before we go into the chaos of new starts, advent calendars, Flossmas. I'm really excited for it. My exchange advent has arrived. I've done John's advent. Alfie, I need to get John to put the projects in my little stockings because I quite like having it be a surprise that I don't know which whip/new start I'm gonna work on each. Scooch in, you're really bony. Which one I'm going to be working on, so that needs doing and putting up. And then what else? And then my KLT charting one is still to arrive, but that's fine because we've got, I think, 2.5 weeks still. What else is happening? I am going to Harrogate. I've already mentioned this, but so next week, sadly, we have a funeral to go to in the middle of the week, on Wednesday. So this is why posting might not happen immediately. So Tuesday we're travelling, Wednesday we're at a funeral, Thursday travelling home from the funeral, dropping John off, and then I'm travelling up to Harrogate. Going to do a day in Harrogate on the Friday, and then because I'm already halfway there, I'm going up to Newcastle to see Shelley and Sherry and maybe Sarah. So I'm really excited to go see all of them. And Shelley and I, we're both doing Harrogate but on different days, so we're crossing over a little bit. I think we're doing dinner on Thursday and a workshop on Friday morning together. So yeah, I'm really excited for that, and I'm sure that means I will be coming back with all of the new hobbies. Not that I've used any of the new hobbies that I got at the last one of these kind of things that I went to, the quilting festival of quilts. But anyway, we're going to come home with new hobbies anyway. Yeah, I feel like I don't know when I last stopped. It's been a bit of a mental couple of weeks and months. So I'm really looking forward to Harrogate, but I'm also really looking forward to the Christmas break, if I'm honest. I think that's pretty much everything. The last thing I want to leave you with is a Flosstuber recommendation. So their name, or their channel is Stitched by Immy. Stitched by Immy, I think it is. I just so she's been away from Flosstube for a little while. She has had a baby, so congratulations. But she's so softly spoken, and I just so enjoy. It's just like you're sat chatting with a friend. She's such a gentle person, with such a gentle voice. It's just a really nice company to sit with when stitching. So yeah, if you haven't come across her before, please go give her a watch, and yeah, send her some love. That is everything. I'm sure I'm going to finish filming and then be like, I forgot these 3 things, but they will have to wait for next time. So from me and from Alfie, happy stitching, and I will catch up with you again in a few weeks. Bye for now.